turn these bad defeats and bad performances into better ones and ones where we can win both games.
Seating after the game against USA, and the guys are already in the studio. You can see on my left is Mr. Muftau Nabila. The man was angry, not just on Twitter. He took it to
upgraded today, Mr.
Yeah. Relax, I'm not done. Relax, Mr. Muftau Nabila. You were on Twitter, you were ranting, then you took it to YouTube, and I'm sure you are bringing it to Game Plan. Now on my on my right is Mr. Sichofe. Yeah, Mr. Sichofe. See you, Mr. See you.
So did he get the pronunciation right?
Yeah.
Did he get it right?
He managed to get close. Sichofe, it's fine.
Sichofe.
Fair. Take a bit of okra to help you. Because the wind from your wind pipe
is it fair or fair?
Fair. You see, okra allows that the wind is able to slip through your tongue.
Sicho, we are finished.
Yeah, I mean, Sicho is there. Mr. Sicho. And in the middle is brother Daniel Cranton.
He's a reverend father.
Yeah, he's a brother. He's not yet there. He hasn't crossed yet.
Yeah, no, he's not.
He's just like me. He's not different.
He doesn't know what he's missing.
Brother Danny.
Brother
Bro, you don't know what you're missing. Don't let anybody lie to you. You don't know what you're missing.
Hey, that's
no. What is Sicho trying to say?
Yeah, you don't know what you're missing. Oh, Muftau, why is you know what he's trying to say? Oh, my brother,
I can't relate.
You don't know what you're missing.
I don't know.
Hey,
what is that?
Danny,
hey,
it is correct. It is fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fenty will tell you that Charlie, the thing they go on. Gary the thing is not going to tell you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he talks on.
Oh, Danny, no reach.
I'm not rich.
You don't reach.
Oh, no reach, brother.
The Lord is my shepherd.
He make it you to
lie down in green pastures.
Anyway, it's all good. It's all good. I'm sure Daniel will definitely get there. Daniel will get there, of course.
You say something for yourself. You say Daniel will get there.
Can you relate?
It is Game Plan. Welcome to the show.
No, why is it?
Welcome to the show, guys. And of course, let's get to it. And you can join the conversation. Petrosol Betway, the African Football League, starting at 3 p.m. today, all the way in Tanzania. You want to be part of it. So on Joy Prime, it's live. But let's start with the BlackStars. We had, Chris Seaton, we had the reaction of Ghanaians there. But let me come to you, Muftau. You were sorely disappointed. Super disappointed. Of course, the WhatsApp line is active. 055 1111 997 is the WhatsApp line. Let's get your comment coming through and join the conversation also on Twitter. And we'll love to hear from you. Let me start from you, Muftau. Wow, what an international window. I think the word that was quite, common on Twitter was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. And I was not surprised that it was a very common word that was used by many people out there. Considering the fact that this is a BlackStars that many of us had high expectations of. This is a BlackStars that many of us actually felt that we were going to move from Otto Addo and to Chris Hughton, which was going to be more of an upgrade. Unfortunately, what we've witnessed so far under Chris Hughton, difficult for anyone to say that we have upgraded. But I look at it from many angles. And
Muftau, just before we get into your many angles, well, the man who witnessed the game, Tahir Fentio, all the way into the United States. Not sure if he has left Nashville yet, but he witnessed it. And after the first half, when we were trashed 4-0, he was already sitting in the post-match, waiting for Chris Seaton to, hand him his own questions. Well, Tahir Fentio, I've taken your seat, but it's as well, isn't it? How are you doing in the USA? Have you recovered yet? Okay, we seem to. All right, we'll try and reconnect to Fentio. Fentio, if you can just unmute yourself, I understand, and we will get you on. Well.
The weather is too cold over there.
All right, we'll try and reconnect to Fentil there. But let me just come back to you, Muftar. You're making your point. You're giving us your angle.
Yeah. And I think the major angle for me, I would say, is leadership. I'll say leadership because with the right leadership, everything will fall in place. With the right leadership, there will be discipline. With the right leadership, the right culture would be built within every single institution you find yourself. So I think that if you take a look at what we all witnessed in the last two friendly matches against Mexico and the BlackStars, one of the things I felt was missing from the team was leadership. And the leadership cuts across from the FA president to the head coach to the playing body. From the FA president point of view, I think that as an institution that decided to hand the coaching job to Chris Hughton, I don't know what kind of conversations transpired behind the scenes, but there needed to be a conversation about a team culture. And that team culture has to let everyone understand that the BlackStars jersey that you are wearing, you are going to represent millions of people, and that there should be desire and passion to play for the team. And to the technical team, where I also feel that if the leadership of the technical team is in its best shape, there's going to be discipline within the playing body. From what we witnessed, trust me, if there was discipline, I'm not too sure, not to pick out single players, but if there was discipline, what we saw from Seydou, I'm not sure we would have seen that. How they lobbed the ball over him and he stood there aloof, as if tracking back was a crime. And I felt that all these are down to indiscipline. It is indiscipline because I feel that the players are not taking responsibility. Every single time we are looking at the president of the Ghana Football Association and throwing the shades at him, we are looking at the technical team members and throwing the shades at them because the buck always stops at them. But trust me, when you sat here and you played the sick tune, you didn't need Ken to come and tell you to play the sick tune before the show started. You've been assigned to do something, and when you are on the field, you need to take that responsibility.
So it's a question of responsibility.
It's a question of responsibility. You've been put on the field, and I mentioned earlier about the culture bit, where I felt that this BlackStars team and across all our national teams, when the Black Meteors went to Morocco for the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations competition, can you imagine that we had players, under 23 players, tell their coaches, the management committee, that they were never going to go out there and train simply because they were owed bonuses? If there was a certain level of discipline, you, a player, would feel that you are bigger than the national team and that you can hold a country to ransom.
Well, great. I'll come back to you. And of course, Nathan Alato has also joined us in the studio. But I mentioned earlier that Tahiru Fentil is joining us all the way from the USA. Fent, I like your hairstyle, though. Not sure what you've done to it. Is it the weather? Is it the weather?
My friend, what do you mean you like my hairstyle? You work with me every week. You've not seen my hair.
No, this is different. Brother, this is like it has been affected by the snow.
Charlie, what I do to the hair? What do they do to the hair? What is this?
You don't even see the body color, Seth. See the body color.
Yes. How are you guys? Please. I won't come back. If people joke, I won't come back again.
Hey, you don't want to come again?
All right, Fed, let's hear from you, though. You watched
because half of the people who came for the game,
anyway, Fed, let's get into the game, though. You watched the game, and you've been very visibly disappointed in terms of the performance. You heard from the coach in the post game. What did you make of it? And, you saw the players even after the game. Maybe we did not get the benefit of seeing the players, go down the tunnel. What did you make of the body language of the players? And even if you have gotten to interact with some of them, what feedback have you gotten from them? Is there a certain level of disappointment? To be very frank, I haven't seen that even on any of the social media platforms coming out to apologize, etc. I've not seen anything like that. The only unfortunate news is Joseph Edu, who is injured.
Listen, it's a very it's a very easy conversation to have. And no matter what anybody says about this national team, the Black Stars of Ghana is at its very bottom. And I think that the main issue is that there is no recognition of just how low we have sunk as a national team. And that is exactly why we continue to be where we are at the moment. Now, these two friendly games, let nobody deceive you and say that it takes time to build a national team. Yes, it takes time to build a national team. But for the longest time, we have been on a really bad trajectory. And I think that fundamentally, so many things are so wrong with the Black Stars. And that's why the performances keep being as bad as they are. All right. I will talk about these two specific games and what I witnessed. And what I witnessed, a lot of the things are not pleasant. And for me, they need to be said. And it's a conversation that we must have. And people must be told the truth. But if you look at even before the World Cup, what was Ghana's record before the World Cup? Before the World Cup, Ghana had played 11 matches. We had only one victory. Before the World Cup, 5 of those matches were defeats. That is horrible for a national team the caliber of the Black Stars. And so the signs were there, right from the qualifying, from the AFCON, pre-AFCON, to the AFCON, to the Nigeria game, even when we qualified for the World Cup, the 2 qualifying games that we played under Otuado against Madagascar, Central African Republic, we went to the Kirin Cup. In that entire run, Ghana only won 1 game, and that was the 3-0 against Madagascar. We played games against Chile, against Japan, against Central African Republic, against Comoros, against Gabon, against Morocco, against Algeria. We didn't win any single one of those matches. We only won 1, and that was against Madagascar. And yet somehow people always found a way to say we are building a national team. Some of those results, to put them into perspective, maybe the 2 draws against Nigeria qualified us for the World Cup. So perhaps in perspective, those look positive. But if you look at all the other results, the signs were clear. We simply refused to acknowledge that the national team was in a bad place. Then post the World Cup, all right, we have played 7 matches since Chris Hughton came in. In those 7 matches, we have won 3 of them, one of it being a friendly game. So in actual fact, Chris Hughton's win record, when you compare to even Otuado, is much better. The problem, however, is in the performance. If you look deep at the performances, that is where you recognize that there are massive problems with the national team. And for me, I don't even think it has anything to do with tactical setup. Because structurally, I think the issues are there. Sicho has been very elaborate on this. Daniel has spoken about this. For a very long time, we've had basic structural issues with our national team, the way we set up. But for me, I think the biggest issue with the national team is also the caliber of players we have, not necessarily their quality, but their personality. And for me, I think that is one of the things that we really need to talk about. That we have a national team full of players who are basically seen as prima donnas, who don't know what it means to wear the national team jersey. And I will elaborate. Okay? It's almost as if right now, people use the national team as some sort of lifestyle, like a paid vacation. Because we know for a lot of these players, getting a national team call-up is basically an opportunity for them to come home or for them to regroup and link up with their friends. If you look at their attitude in camp, it's basically as if this is like one of those instances where we get to come together again and enjoy a free time, because somebody has to pay for that. Because ordinarily, it's a long season. Nobody gives you the opportunity to travel around the world like that. So the national team is that big opportunity. Let's come home. Let's see our girlfriends. Let's see our family members. And then nothing else really matters to them. Now, if you look at these games that we played, all right, against Mexico, I was there. Not a lot of people even knew that I was there. Because I came here, I'm on leave. I came here for homecoming. All right, I went to my alma mater. I went to see the game with at least 4 of my other old schoolmates. We sat at the very top. All right. I boasted about how good the BlackStars were, and some of them still had jerseys that I sent to them from 2010. People were excited. But throughout the 90 minutes that I watched that game, I completely gave up. The body language of the players was so poor. The quality that they exhibited was so poor. And this, for me, is one of the worst BlackStars teams I've ever watched. Because in possession, it's almost as if we have no plan. No plan to create. No plan to cause any problems for the opposition. It's almost as if we only just have a plan when we don't have the ball, which is pack the bus. And that is another issue we need to talk about when it comes to Chris Hughton. So in possession, the players look absolutely clueless. Everybody is trying to do their own thing. Everybody is trying. There is no plan. What is the plan? All right. So we are clueless in possession. Out of possession where we were supposed to be compact. And for me, people have spoken about this, about the fact that for Chris Hughton, when it comes to the national team or the BlackStars, he comes with a package. And that a lot of people expected that we would play very negative football, very boring football. But at least there was guarantee that it would come with results. So far, we haven't even been compact enough. We've conceded 9 goals in 7 games that we've played. We've only scored 7 goals. We've had only 7 shots on target in that period. And I told him at the press conference, in the game against USA alone, the USA had 8 shots on target in a single match. In 7 games, Ghana has had 7 shots on target. It's unpardonable. What exactly do you do in training? And there is no recognition of where the problem is, because every single time, all we know is go and gather and shout, "We are Ghana, we are Ghana." Let me be specific on these games. When they came to Charlotte, the Charlotte match happened a day after the draw for the Africa Cup of Nations. The Africa Cup of Nations is one of the most important tournaments on the African continent, if not the most important tournament. The biggest countries were all there. They sent big people to the competitions, to the draw, so that they could scout for facilities, so that they could look at camping bases, so that they could look at all these hotels and every single thing that is required to ensure that you have a successful tournament. The GFA president wasn't there. The general secretary wasn't there. The ESCO members were all not there. There was only Mr. John Ansah, who was sent to Côte d'Ivoire to take care of the draw. Mr. John Ansah, with all due respect, okay, with all due respect, but a tournament like the Africa Cup of Nations, the representation at the draw should be much higher. So there was no coach, no player, no ex-players, no management committee members, no GFA ESCO members, no GFA president, no general secretary. Every single one of them was with the BlackStars in Charlotte for a friendly game against Mexico. That, in hindsight, has not become an exercise in futility, because we learned absolutely nothing from those 2 friendly matches to prepare us for the AFCON. Look at the opposition that all the other teams were playing during this break. They were playing strategic matches against other top oppositions on the African continent, because at the AFCON, those are the teams you would play. Which team in the AFCON plays like Mexico? Which team in the AFCON plays like the United States? If those matches were to serve as preparatory games for the Africa Cup of Nations, did they really serve the purpose? If anything at all it did was expose even the national team even further.
Interesting.
That all these people were at the game, and then for those that didn't even make it to the Charlotte match, all of them were in Nashville. The GFA president, his general secretary, his vice president, ESCO members. I saw at least 4 or 5 ESCO members here. All right, I saw the vice president. All right, Mr. Makadu, he was there. Randy Abbey, he was there. Gift Warren, she was there. Odo Sapo, he was there. Why do you need all these people for a friendly match against the United States when there is a draw for the Africa Cup of Nations, which is an even more important exercise? Clubs had representatives at the at these friendly matches. In fact, Tamale City even released a statement to announce that their president has been proudly selected to go to the USA for the friendly matches. And they thought that they needed to release a statement to that effect. So the matches were used as a way to reward people who voted for you? Was that what it was? And then you look at the attitude of the players or even the conduct of the officials in camp. And this is where, for me, I would personally chastise some of our colleagues, the journalists. The BlackStars camp, especially in Nashville, was like a marketplace. It was so chaotic, so noisy, you wouldn't believe it. Anybody told you that a national team was camping there. Too many hangers on. The Jamefe Commission specifically spoke about this matter. Too many people around the national team. Journalists, fans, like so many people who had no business being there. If you're a journalist covering a national team, if you don't have an interview, or if you don't have any business at the BlackStars Hotel, there is no need for you to go and hang out there and have lunch or have dinner or whatever. I don't care. And you might come and say, oh, you just went there to go and have... No, it is not necessary.
Fent. Interesting. Let me just let's get the thoughts of...
No, I want to read something.
Okay.
I want to read something. This was a message sent to me on 11th October. It was sent to me at 3:40 p.m. He said, can you believe that? This one came from someone within African football at the CAF level. Can you believe that there is no GFA official in Abidjan for the AFCON draw? There was not even a single team member at the workshop yesterday. John Ansah has just arrived as the only GFA rep. It is a shame. And this message was sent at 3:40 p.m. This clearly tells you that. And remember my response. My response was specific. They chose USA. because the people who are supposed to ensure that they go to the CAF draw, ensure that we have the right facilities in place to have a perfect atmosphere to play the African Cup of Nations, all chose to go to the USA for a friendly match.
Interesting. Let me come to Sicho. Nats. I'll also come to Nats. Let's just get the thoughts of all the people around here.
You truncated my thoughts. When I was talking about my leadership, you see your life. Because all the things Fentio said were all down to leadership and discipline.
Yeah.
That's clearly what it is. So, for instance, I started the example of the what Ali said today. Can you imagine if we have a technical team with so much discipline, and Chris Hutton says that you, Ali Seidu, you're not supposed to run 30 meters from the 18-yard box, and you go beyond that. Is that not indiscipline? We've had national teams that have competed and done so well for us because we had very strong technical benches who disciplined the players. So now it appears the technical team is not as disciplined as we want them to believe, because if what we keep hearing every single day that FA leadership continue to impose players and you are fighting FA leadership of who should come to the national team and who shouldn't come, and in fact sometimes you are threatened with sack and all that, trust me, if the technical team is a responsible team, then that technical team will let the FA leadership understand that I am in charge. You pay me to take decisions, so I am going to take those decisions. And if the FA leadership themselves are disciplined, they will know that you have appointed someone to do a specific job. Allow the person to do the job. It's like you going to the hospital and telling the doctor that because I have an injury, perform surgery on that leg. It is a decision of the doctor to advise you. If you could perform the surgery yourself, then you should have done it yourself. That's what I remember when I interviewed Kwesi Appiah. He said he told Dr. Kofi Amwa, when Kofi Amwa was forcing Kelvin Prince Boateng and Sule Mutari on him, he said, if you can coach the team, go and take the team and coach it. So if you feel that managing the national team, someone somewhere is trying to push players down your throat, tell them that if you can manage the national team, take the job and do it.
Interesting. Sicho, let me come to you. You also monitor the game. Let me just get your thoughts. Then I'll come to Daniel and Nat will also get his thoughts.
I just want to wrap up and then get out of here.
Okay.
So the last thing I want to say two things. First one is Chris Hughton himself. Now, if you watch the game against the USA, since Chris Hughton came into this national team, he's had his own problems. And I would be very emphatic on some of his problems. Number one, I don't think he has helped himself with team selection. Because we've had issues with team selection in the past where people have been very particular about the influences that external forces have on team selection. Now, if you're a coach giving the freedom to operate, I don't understand. Look, the GFA officials or whoever it is that influences selections can only ask you to choose certain players, but they cannot ask you to play certain players. Let's take Edmond Ado. It is not personal. When he was playing well and was doing well for Real Madrid, he got his chance. So for his Moldovan side against Real Madrid in the Champions League, he got his chance. Everybody clamored for him to be called up. He was called up. Nobody complained. But this kid has played 14 minutes of football since July of this year. 14 minutes. And yet, he was called and started in the game against Liberia. He was called and started in the game against the USA. Nobody forced Chris Hughton to start him. Hughton made that decision. And it's a poor one. Because he was very, very poor. First of all, he shouldn't even be in the national team, let alone be starting matches. Secondly, you called up a substitute left back, Hamidou from Midiama, okay? You didn't call Baba Rahman. That's fair. You had Gideon Mensah, you had Hamidou in the team. When Gideon survived or lasted only 45 minutes and there was a chance for you to play another player, you left the substitute left back on the bench and you brought a right back to come and play a left back. So then what was your business calling the substitute left back? So what's the point? Because in fact, after the game against Central African Republic, there was huge debate about where we should go or what direction we should go in terms of finding solutions to our left back. He brings in Hamidou, he plays him against Liberia, he does really well, and then you call him up against this for these two friendlies. Of course, he missed the Mexico game because he was away, okay, with Midiama, but he was available for the second game against the USA. You start Gideon, he doesn't do well in the first 45 minutes. Instead of looking to Hamidou and then trying to see whether you can build some progress from that, no, you shift Ali Dusedu to left back. And you bring in a right back who was so poor against the USA. So they're not finding solutions, they're creating more problems. So technically, there's a huge problem. The team does not know how to pass. They can't put sequence of passes together. I couldn't count more than 5 passes at a time when the BlackStars played, especially against Mexico. When I tweeted about it, people said I should shut up because the opposition is so good. Mexico, they couldn't beat Uzbekistan before that Ghana game. They are so good. This is the poorest Mexican team in the last 5 years. And yet every single time we have this habit. We like dismissing poor performances with, oh, the opposition is so good. That's what we did with Brazil. We lost comfortably 3-0. We say, oh, it's Brazil. Then Morocco goes and whips them. We like to do this a lot. Look at the quality of opposition we have played. Ordinarily, if you give that opposition to Mali, to Senegal, they'll be whipping them. We struggled against Sierra. We struggled against Angola. We just struggled. It's eternal struggle. It is just suffering.
Fence. Well, I think you have to calm down.
The second thing I want to say, Musbao, before I go.
So that was the first thing.
Is this. I don't think what happened to our colleague Seydou Adamou.
Very important.
At the BlackStars camp hotel in Charlotte should be countenanced. It should not be tolerated. It is wicked, it's abhorrent, it is an attack on independent-minded journalism. And the fact that the Ghana Football Association has not yet acknowledged publicly and apologized and promise to take steps to ensure there is no repeat of this, for me, that reeks. And it just tells me that the Ghana Football Association's current leadership does not respect journalists. More so, it does not respect independent-minded journalists. Let me be clear. Seydou Adamu is a known critic of the Ghana Football Association. He has the right to criticize. Critique is essential to every good governance at every single level. From the United States, the mother of democracy, to Ghana, a beacon of democracy on the African continent. Independent-minded journalism is why the institutions continue to be checked. So if people who criticize the FA are attacked at national team camp, and even if his criticism is not linked to the attack, it still sends the wrong signal if the GFA is quiet about it. Because today it is Seydou, tomorrow it could be me.
Yeah,
Swag released a statement. And for me, I don't think that Swag were themselves were forthcoming enough in their statement, because the statement only came 48 hours after the incident. I don't think it should have delayed as much as it did. So I have my own reservations with that. Secondly, I don't think the statement was strongly worded enough. Because listen, we saw what happened to the MPP people who invaded the UTV studio. Within 2 weeks, they were fined, arraigned in court and fined. You saw the NDC people who attacked the City FM journalists. Look at the steps that the NDC took. They even went as far as visiting the station to ensure that reparatory measures are taken, so there is no recurrence of that. Why has the Ghana Football Association still not even released a statement to recognize or admit the incident even took place? Why? Is it because it happened to a known critic of the FA?
Well,
is it because the FA condones what happened?
We have to leave it there. We have to leave it there, Fent, and hope that you join us pretty shortly and have a safe flight over there. But let me come to the guys in the studio. But remember, get your comments coming through on 055 11 997. And also remember the Betway Golden Code promo is still on. Just go for gold and bet risk-free on the new season with Betway. Use the golden booking code found on the Betway site to bet on selected match weeks and get 100% back as free bet on any losses. You always get way more with Betway. Terms and conditions apply, and is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Betway, get way more. So yeah, Sito, let me just come to you. Let me get your thoughts on all of this, and let me also go to Daniel.
Right. I can understand the frustration of many people, but for me, it would be hypocritical for anybody, anywhere, to say that they were surprised with the results that we saw against Mexico and the USA. Because since Chris Hughton took the job, I don't even want to go to his predecessors. Maybe I'll touch on that. But since Chris Hughton took the job, every single game we've played under him has given us the signs that when we meet better opposition, they will eat us good. And so when we played against Angola here in Ghana, we saw it. When we played against Angola away, we saw it. All the games we've played under Chris Hughton, we've seen those signs that we are not good enough. We are too easy to get through to face our goalkeeper.
The Liberian coach actually mentioned it.
And yeah, the Liberian said it. And the Liberian coach, I'm not sure if he's a Liberian, but the Liberian manager said it. If he didn't have to say, any honest person who sees the game would have seen that. And secondly, any time that we had the ball, we didn't look coordinated. It didn't look like we had a plan on how to, if you like, transition from midfield to attack more importantly. So I wasn't surprised that Mexico did what they did to us, and in fact, that scoreline didn't reflect the game. And I think I said it somewhere on Monday that it could have been worse in that game against Mexico. Now, when we met the United States of America in America, where their fans are going to be behind them when they make a statement, US are preparing for the next World Cup. They are very young squad. They are looking good together. It was always going to be that. And it's a matter of fact, that game could have easily been 10-0. Because in that second half, USA stopped playing. Yeah. Why would they want to even exert more energy when
it looked too easy for them?
It was too easy anyway. And they were playing the USA. Most of them will travel back to Europe. It's a long trip. So after that first 5 minutes where the job was done, they took the legs off the pedal a little bit. I mean, otherwise could have even been more. So the reason why I'm building this premise is that, yeah, we'll talk about what the GFA is doing. We'll talk about what the extra things around the team looks like. But we've seen associations where the association itself is rotten. But when the playing body and the coach get to the pitch, they play some very fascinating football. And I'll give you an example. The Argentine FA that we see there is one of the worst in the world with its caliber and its history. Before they won the Copa America, the reason why Scaloni is their coach is because they were broke and they couldn't hire a coach that they could pay. So they actually got him to be a caretaker, and he did a good job. They said, okay, hang on, instead of paying big money for a big coach, let's keep you, see who we can bring on. He brought in his other friends, Aima and the rest, to come and help him. That is Argentina. But anytime they got onto the pitch, Scaloni was able to coach the team to deliver football. And there are several examples of several associations that, you know, have their own problems, but on the pitch they are delivering. So our GFA is not great, and I wouldn't be here saying that they are doing a great job. They aren't. But when the manager picks or gets into the team bats, gets to the training grounds, and trains his players on match days, we at least to see signs of a team that understands what it is doing. Right now, Chris Hughton's football is never great. It's never been. And nobody was expecting Chris Hughton to use Ghana to play brilliant football. When Chris Hughton got the job, the reason why I was excited about, and I've said it many, many times, that he needs time because of his pedigree and because of who he is and because the brand of football he plays, I felt was brilliant, was going to be brilliant for tournament football. And I still think it could be. Tournaments are funny, but I still think it could be. His brand of football is the Chris Hughton we know. His brand of football is such that it's difficult for teams to break him down. And that is the most important thing you need in a tournament. Because instead of losing the game by a goal to nil, you could go to extra time and force something. You could win on penalties. So his brand of football, I always thought, would be fascinating for tournament football. But since he took the job, post the World Cup, how bad we were at the World Cup in terms of the way we considered goals. How bad we were at the World Cup in terms of the time between goals that we conceded. Nothing has been fixed. How bad we were in the World Cup at times in the way we were transitioning. None of that has been fixed. And for me, this is it. Chris Hughton has a pedigree of building teams that have great block at the back and defensively very well structured. He's known to be a manager that wouldn't necessarily get your team to score a lot of goals. And Ghana, we are used to that. I remember in 2010, you know, Ghana would rarely consider 2 goals.
Yeah.
It was a 1-goal project that we all described it as that. Yeah. But the point is, whenever we played, we knew exactly what we were doing. We would be very strong at the back, and when we had the ball, we would transition well with pace. The selection of passing was good. The way we recovered to get ourselves back into defensive shapes were good. Under Chris Hughton, I don't see anything. I don't see even his trademark, right? And that is where I worry. It's like a Jose Mourinho team that can't defend anymore. It's like a Pep Guardiola team that can't put passes together anymore. That should make you worry. So for a Chris Hughton team that can't at least minimum defend well with any proper structure, that makes me worried, right? So when you talk about the team doesn't create, it's a concern. The team doesn't score, it's a concern. But Chris's teams have never really had that. But now to add to the fact that the team can't defend and every team can walk through us, that gives me headache. Because that is a specialty. Like, that is what he's known for. So if he cannot implement what he's known for on this team, then that is a worry for everybody associated with the team. I still think every manager needs time with the team. But while you take that time, we need to see signs of progress. And as I speak, I've not seen. I said it on Monday on Gameplan that
Sports
Zone that personally, I have not seen any progress since. And I'm saying it with huge disappointment because when you hear the name Chris Hughton, the manager of the BlackStars, it sounds so good. But when you see the performance on the pitch, it looks so bad. And that for me is a worry. Now, let me just give me a minute on the GFA and what it does. Listen, the GFA as they are have already shown us that they don't care so much about so many things. Typical example is the AFCON. These friendlies are not important. In fact, the timing of these 2 friendlies are out of place. Because we are going into an AFCON. We are going into a World Cup qualifiers in our next break and an AFCON next month. And we are playing against Mexico and the USA great friendlies. But the timing of it means that the coach, the team, will not learn anything before the next competitive fixture. Because the next competitive fixture, they are not playing with any team that play like US or Mexico. They are not going to the AFCON to play against teams like that. Are you following? But what this fixture can tell us is how bad we truly are as a country, and why Chris needs to up his game big time and very, very quickly, because he's got decent talent of players, but he's just not been able to figure out how to get them to play as a team. The leadership thing and all of that. Listen, when the team is looking bad, it doesn't matter how good you are, you will look bad. Partey was terrible. Kudus was bad. Pencil has been balling in his. They were bad. Inaki Williams has been firing this season for his club. He was bad. Edu has been playing well this season. He looked bad.
Okay, so why then do they come to the national team and look that bad? If there's a right discipline and the right leadership,
structure, atmosphere, attitude around the camp,
and who builds that?
So it starts from the. I think the GFA has a part to play, and I've said that. The GFA has a part to play, and the manager has a big part to play as well. I've already said that whenever these players, no matter how good they are, put on this shirt in the last 6 years or so, or last 3 years, kind of, all of them play scared. That's why I've advocated for somebody to get into the heads of the players, a professional psychologist, to get into the head of the players and get them to know that it is football that they are playing. Get them to feel free when they wear that shirt. Because when they go to their clubs, they are brilliant. We see them every day. But when they put on that shirt, they look completely lost. And I think it's mentality that has affected their confidence when they play for the Black Stars. And no one player in the side can get on good form for the Stars.
Well, interesting thoughts there. But remember, Petrosol World and Lubricant is on. They say every drop matters. Yes, just as every penny count. And did you know that good quality fuel enhances your vehicle performance, reduces maintenance costs? Then take no risks in times like this. All you need is value for your money. Look no further. Drive to the next Petrosol fuel station. Yes, Petrosol, your go-to station for accurate quantity of high quality fuel. Be a happy customer, fill with smiles, drive more miles, and save some money. Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. And also the October sales at Furniture City is still on, and yes, crazy deals await you at Furniture City. Pick any item and enjoy from 25% up to 40% discount on selected items. Items ranging from furniture, dining sets, sofas, decor sets, carpets, curtains. Yes, it's all crazy deal only at Furniture City, your home of quality furniture and the largest furniture shop in Ghana. So Harry, rush now to Furniture City for all your kind of furniture and enjoy up to 40% discounted price. Locate Furniture City at number 77 Spintex Road, 200 meters from the Flower Pot roundabout on the Spintex Road and opposite City Ceramica. Log on to Facebook page Furniture City Ghana and website www.furniturecityghana.com, or you can contact our sales department on 0244 213 333 or 0540 314 948. Furniture City, your home of quality furniture. Daniel, yeah, I mean, you have been an advocate of Chris needs time, all right? Sitcho made point about the way the players play. And I think one thing that I have observed is that Houghton appears not to have the same set of players that, you know, he gets at every opportunity. He seems to call
that's
the BlackStars.
That's a flimsy excuse.
You know, he called this time round. I mean, that's the slack summer curtain for him. You look at the defenders that were at his disposal in this friendly, and to be very frank, it was none of his first choice defenders. None of his. So
are you suggesting that when we go to the tournament and his first choice defenders are not there, we should go and put up this shambolic performance?
So
no. So that's the point.
It can happen.
Yeah, it can happen.
When you lose a lot of good players of yours. But the point is, when he has these players, this performance hasn't been very different, except that we played against better opposition. And when we played against a more low quality opposition, with all due respect to him,
USA is a better opposition, Mexico is a better opposition. I struggle.
Than all the teams he's faced. No, USA.
To be fair,
USA is by far better than Angola, Central Africa Republic.
Let me come to Daniel. Let me come to Daniel. Daniel, your thoughts on this, though?
Charlie, some way.
What do? Is the emotional torture?
Look, I've been thinking a lot this week. A lot. In fact, on when was it again? Wednesday.
Yeah.
So after Wednesday night into Thursday, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking, and something hit me. It was Kwesi Appiah, it was CK, it was Milo, it was Otuado, and then Chris Hughton. If we said Kwesi Appiah wasn't good, okay, fine. You said CK wasn't good, that was fine. You said Milo wasn't good, he was outdated, that's cool. Otuado, you say he's a trainer scout, he's not good, that's fine. But Chris Hughton, that's where the red flag came. And you see, I don't like it when we always situate certain scenarios on certain coaches. This thing has been running since 2019. This seeming lack of structure, this seeming Frekobo vibes in the BlackStars. It was that's what we saw under CK. That's what we saw under Milo at the AFCON. That's what we saw for large chunks of Otuado's reign. He looked quite confused. And that's what we are seeing again. And for me, look, there has to reach a point where you can't always be blaming the technical head and saying the person is not good. There's something wrong somewhere. And for me, look, there are so many signs that have been pointing to a very obvious fact that the current group of players, for me, I don't think they deserve to be wearing the BlackStars jersey.
Thank you. God bless you.
They don't deserve to be wearing the BlackStars jersey. There's a rotten culture in this current group. And for me, look, they simply don't care. Let's go back. This thing, I said this somewhere, they said it's controversial, but it's a fact. Aside Michael Essien, in that era between, let's say, 2006 and let's say 2012, in fact, from 2006 to like 2015, aside Michael Essien, no other player in the BlackStars was like a hot superstar out there. What we had was a group of players who always showed up when they came to the national team. Nobody was in a hurry to go and watch John Pinso play for Fulham. John Pinso wasn't some superstar right back. But when he wore the Ghana jersey, he was literally one of the best on the continent when he represented Ghana. That was the difference. Baby Jet. Who remembers Baby Jet's club career? Everybody remembers him in the Ghana shirt. Because when he wore the BlackStar shirt, you can compare him to the Drogbas and the Eto'os and co. But in the club shirt, he's really basic. Okay? And it was something that we saw. It was a theme that ran through. You can look at all the star players that we always mention and try and reference. Look at John Mensah. Who remembers the clubs he even played for?
Ashdod.
But when John Mensah wore the BlackStar shirt, he was literally one top 5 defenders on the continent. And you will mention his name because you know he's that good.
The Rock.
2010. In fact, 2009-2010 season. Go and check. Olele didn't make a single appearance in club football. Not one.
Was in Reading, was he?
No.
It was
it Reading?
It wasn't Reading at the time.
Blackpool.
Not a single appearance. In fact, the whole season, his only appearance came in a cup game. One. It was Carling Cup. One. And that was in the first part of the season. So that was around August, September. And that was it. But he finished the 2010 World Cup as literally one of the best goalkeepers at the World Cup. In fact, there's a whole FIFA documentary on their FIFA Plus talking about one of the greatest performances by an African goalkeeper. Olele is there. They found a way to elevate their game. It's not even finding a way. They understood what it meant to wear the BlackStars jersey. To the current crop of players, and this will also blame some of us. When somebody is 18, 19, 20, and the person scores a brace somewhere, or the person has a superb month where he's scoring and assisting, hey, he's better than this player, he should be in the BlackStars. That's not how you do things.
I remember the whole debate when even the day he was being called to the BlackStars. They said no, he's too young. He can't play for the BlackStars. You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this was somewhere
2008,
2007,
2008.
Yeah.
He made his debut. Was that against
2007.
Senegal?
2007. Yes.
Then
But prior to
2008.
that,
Yes.
it was 2006 and then early phase of 2007.
They said no, he's too young.
They said he was too young.
He's too young.
Yeah. And even in 2008, the AFCON, there was whole controversy about it. They
Oh,
go,
yeah.
no, hang on a minute.
You
No,
see,
That's how you know they went
he's
number
not ready.
13 jersey.
Yes, no, he's not ready. No.
and I honestly love the example you've done. Because back in the day, even if you were young and you were playing in the BlackStars, you were playing in another youth team. You were not exclusively for the BlackStars because you know rich, you are not ready. We found a way to sideline the importance of proper grooming at the youth levels, under 17, under 20, under 23 before BlackStars. Look, and I'll go back to that FIFA document that I referenced a while ago on their youth football development. It is extremely important that players pass through the mill before getting to the national team level. That's where you are taught a chunk of things, from team building to so many things. And if you look at the current group of players, how many of them have actually gone through that process? Very few. You find somebody who has made like 2 appearances for under 23, and then he's in BlackStars.
Under 17.
Under 17, he played once. He didn't pass through under 20. He didn't pass through under 23, and then he resurfaces, and now he's back in the BlackStars.
Maybe he's good. Why not?
No.
Jamal Musiala is.
But he was specific.
He's playing
Jamal-
He
in the
was
national
specific,
team.
not exclusively for the national
Not
team.
exclusively.
For the senior national team.
You get it? Look, a standard has been set. Not in terms of talent, but in terms of attitude and what it means to play for the national
That's the,
or the national
culture I was
assignment.
talking about.
And we can't let some things slip. We can't let some things slide. Look, we're in this country where we're preparing for a World Cup. We've set up a competition where they go and play the Kirin Cup in Japan. In Japan. And then people are pulling out of the competition. We played 2 qualifiers. And there was a 25-man squad name for the 2 qualifiers.
Yes.
It was a space of 5 days between the last qualifier against Central African Republic and the first Kirin Cup game. About 10 of the players, 11 players pulled out. Now listen to this. That's 5 months to a World Cup. This is a team that is still trying to find his feet. A new head coach who's still trying to figure out who will make the World Cup team. But you have 5 people pulling out for all sorts of ridiculous reasons. Some, they want to be ready for the start of the new season, so they don't want to risk anything. Some, they've been having some
too caught COVID.
Okay.
But
you see,
The COVID excuse. The COVID excuse.
Look,
Yeah.
Let's pardon ourselves.
no,
for that.
listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. A coach, a technical team, a national team is going to a friendly competition where they are going to use to assess players that will possibly be part of a World Cup squad. And then you are choosing a club assignment over national assignment. For me, look, it's a mentality thing. If it was flipped, okay, and imagine pre-season had started and clubs were going for friendly games and the national team said they were going to have a call, do you think those same players will tell their clubs that we are going to play or we are going to rest because there's a national competition somewhere in 5 months, so we are resting and will not be part of this thing? We will not do that. Up here, there's a serious problem with this current group of players, and it's a culture that has been, so it's like it's almost become normalized. So now when you talk about it, it sounds like you are not correct, but it's a serious problem.
And before you proceed, just mention the Black Meteors tournament that the likes of Kamal D and Co, they were all invited, but they pulled out for reasons unknown.
Yes. You know why? Because where it has reached now,
They feel they are bigger.
exactly,
Yeah.
But
You are bigger than the national
but
team.
there's another angle to this.
Sicho.
To be fair to the boys,
Sicho.
let's move to angle.
Let me
I mentioned this. I mentioned desire. I mentioned passion. Unwilling to wear the
there's
national
another
hat.
angle to, but let's let him
land.
land.
Let Daniel land.
There's another angle to this, but
come to Nat and
Look.
move on.
Musbah,
Yeah.
when you go back to that document and you read, I always say, look, the people who put these things together and where football is going is very scientific. You can't be relying on like old time methods. When people are revising things and we are moving forward, it is very important to take some of these
every
things
day,
serious.
Uncle Ben Kofi, what?
Charlie-
Every day. That document, we don't know where it is. Look, every day.
The
10-year plan.
importance of some of these
doesn't even
competitions, value of preparation, it teaches you resilience, it teaches you attitude control, it teaches you your relationship with your look. When you are in a
peers.
camp and you are in a group, by the time you do 2 campaigns, under 17, under 20, you know what it means. You know that when you put on that shirt, even if I want to give up, I can't give up, because there are people back home who are expecting something from me.
Yeah.
I'm not playing for myself. But we have a very pampered group of players now, and we've all played a part in boosting their ego. No, they're not rich.
They're not rich.
They're not rich at all.
All right.
Lastly, when you cut corners, and this one is to the GFA, when you cut corners, okay, by infiltrating the youth teams with undeserving talents, because they are associated with you and you can make money off them. When you do that and you progress to under 20, everybody knows that those guys, if you give them 100 years, they'll never be good. So the ones who are deserving will eventually go and come back and resurface in the BlackStars level. At that point, you can't ignore them. So what happens is that the education they are supposed to receive, the team building, the understanding of the national duty that they are supposed to receive at youth level, they are not getting it. And then years later, you go and cut corners and behave like the national team is a club team. So look at players like Iñaki, Salisu, Semenyo,
Tariq
Lamte.
Jiku.
Look, talent-wise, they are good. They are good.
Culturally, they don't fit.
But culturally, they don't fit. They don't get it. They don't understand.
I remember
And
Sika
that's
Kro
look,
saying
it is
this.
so important for any coach. When you come in and there's a united mindset, that's where you can start building. But if everybody is thinking, somebody is here, no, he's thinking about.
Don't even feel Ghanaian.
It doesn't even feel good. Somebody is thinking about how he when he plays well, no, he's in the height to go and look at his phone and check the people who are giving fans on Twitter. Somebody wants to win AFCON. Somebody wants to win best player. Somebody wants to do. When there's no united, it is very difficult to coach a group like that. And that's the problem. So look, it's one of the major problems we are facing. So if we don't kill that dirty culture now, Charlie,
problem.
There's a bigger industry.
Right.
And John says something. John says something. Most of these players, the very moment they hear their name on radio and television, they feel they are big.
Yeah.
They feel they've arrived. So
Yeah.
they are bigger. And they want to hold the country to ransom. They don't feel that they are representing millions of people. It's quite embarrassing, actually.
Interesting. See, you just wanted
Yeah, I just wanted a minute on something that he said. When he spoke about the ACN era, that a lot of the players didn't do too well at their clubs, but when they put on that shirt, they were brilliant. I think now we are also forgetting that most of these players now are doing well for their clubs, and they are playing lots of games for their clubs. Now, this is the time the national team's level has to go up. At the time for a player like the goalkeeper Olili, if there's 5 days between the Korean Cup and the AFCON qualifiers, he would go to Japan. Most of the players at the time, Stephen Appiah at the time wasn't having a club at the time, would go to Japan because even if he returns to the club, he's not playing. He's about third choice. Most of these are players that are beginning to get to a certain level where they are seeing games.
Sicho.
No, let me land. Let me land.
Let me just bring Nat in briefly. See, you just land. Let me bring
yes.
Nat in.
So they are beginning
briefly,
to find that level. That is why most of them, when they turn up their clubs, they are playing well.
Yeah.
But the truth again of the matter is that our national team level, in terms of the way we manage the team, the way we organize our camps, are not good enough. So these players turn up, and it's like it's secondary to what they have at
Exactly
their
what I was
clubs.
saying.
Yeah.
And so that has to change.
Yeah, Nats, let me just get your thoughts on this so we can switch and move on to the African Football League.
That is
What's happening?
All right. You know, I've been listening to everyone, and there's loads and loads of disappointment. And once again, I'd like everybody to look on their watches, their clocks, check the date. Today is 20th of October 2023.
Yeah.
I was expecting that by this time in our history or in our evolution or the story of our national team, certain things will be standard. I'm not sure that if you go to the English national team now, certain basic things are taken for granted. Okay? Now, I've heard all the submissions. There's a very clear problem of a lack of purpose amongst our players. Yeah. And I don't know where that is coming from. One of the things I would want us to look at is start looking towards probably a new leadership, in the BlackStars team. Andre Ayew was not present. One of the things I would always give Andre Ayew, and I'm sure that if we go around the table, nobody will go against that, or nobody will have a dissenting opinion, is that anytime Andre Ayew wore the national shirt, at every given occasion, you saw him put in his all. And that one, nobody can argue about. But the question is, where is the transfer of that attitude and that character onto everyone else? Because I'm throwing back to Stephen Apea's era and his leadership and the period when he played, where you had all of these guys who were doing very well, just like Sicho said. Yet, when you came to play for the national team, there was a certain sense of urgency. There was a certain sense of pride in playing for the nation. And there was a certain target that everybody had ahead of them.
Yeah.
So, what are we asking ourselves? Besides, our players should also understand that we have seen players before. We have seen big names in our national team before.
That's what they don't know.
Look, as a product of the early, 80 era, I'm proud to say that I saw at least an Abedi Pele.
Yeah.
And you see, if you sit down and you do a proper technical analysis of what Abedi Pele was playing back then, and you put him on the pitch now, I mean, he will be poles and poles above players from goalkeeping to attack. You understand me? So we have seen players before. And that's the reason why I always had an issue with Paul Pogba anytime he went on those runs and was trying to show disrespect to authority and all of that. Because in the national team, in the French national team, we have seen a Zinedine Zidane before, who could close his eyes and do something magical, and who could just be calm, not rush with anybody, and give clinical passes which result in goals. What are we all talking about? We need to move on from this period where we're still marking time when everybody else is moving ahead of us. I was saying something this morning on television that, you see, it will be such a big relieving moment if the BlackStars are able to do something as substantial as win the Africa Cup of Nations at no less a place and no less a geographical location than the same nation who have denied us 2 out of the 3 opportunities to win number 5, number 6, and number 7. I'm talking about Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah.
And here we are, we're still talking about, people, official dom not turning up for a major exercise as the draw. And let me wrap up on the issue of the draw. I think that, on the basis of fairness, and I'm just throwing this out, on the basis of fairness, let's just place some calls to our friends at the FA. Let's just ask, because maybe, and I'm saying just maybe, let's just play the devil's advocate here. Just maybe, correspondence happened between the FA, the Ghana FA, and CAF to say that because of this particular assignment, and this is, like I said, I'm just playing the devil's advocate, that maybe some sort of correspondence was exchanged between the two parties, and based on that, we absented ourselves to that magnitude, that there is a major tournament. Remember, the Africa Cup of Nations is the biggest football franchise that CAF has.
Yes.
And do remember as well that some years ago, at a certain point, the Confederation of African Football took a decision that any top 3 nominee who did not turn up for the awards night physically was automatically ruled out of winning the award. Because we were just gradually getting ourselves into that practice where, these three gentlemen, Muftao, Sicho, and Danny K have been nominated, the top three, and then because of so-called club commitments out there somewhere, only Muftao turns up for the awards night.
I'm very responsible.
You understand me?
Yeah.
So we need to place a certain level of importance on this exercise, and like I said, let us go to the FA and let them tell us why on earth such a scheduling error was made, such that we at all costs had to play that friendly, and it was technically impossible, or protocol wise was impossible for us to honor that appointment. Because look, not showing up at this major exercise just goes to tell us how we're approaching our preparations towards the Africa Cup of Nations.
These devil advocates are not going to play.
Well,
I'm not going to play because the workshop was on the 11th. The friendly match was on the 14th. You could have gone for the workshop and still fly out for a friendly match.
Well,
the draw was on the 12th. You could have gone for the draw and still fly out for the friendly match. So why would you choose a friendly match? Fly all your executive council members.
Because
it's America. They are not serious.
If you do that, you can get on the chartered flight.
The chartered flight.
So yeah, we're going to talk about
read the message.
It be money matter, Charlie.
Then the BlackStars should be dissolved.
He said the BlackStars should be dissolved and players
asked to apply. That's perfect.
That's the best.
That can happen. You
That's
remember when the Indomitable Lions had to be put into a military camp for small shake. Those things are possible on the continent. But
in fact, in 2019, something like that came up. After that disastrous AFCON, they should dissolve the team and let the players find a way of playing for a national team.
Ghana should channel most energies to grassroots sports. Nitojo from Tema Newtown.
Charlie, the listeners of the show, different things are happening. Some are celebrating their birthdays, some to have been called to the bar. So Charlie, someone Asmeni Fianco, who's been listening to this show like very religiously, was called to the bar today. Big ups to you, and also happy birthday to Priscilla Asiedu. It's from her husband Charles Akrofi of the Ghana Immigration Service in the Bono region, and they listen to us like they are always here. Priscilla Asiedu, happy birthday to you. Keep listening to the show. And someone has many Fianco, Charlie, let us know where the party is at. The way Danny K make wow.
Wait.
Danny K rushing out to the mouth by the drink.
No, who started? We sing for Priscilla. Oh, Prissy.
I see the audio.
Oh, Prissy.
I see.
Oh, Prissy.
You see, this is why the BlackStars are not performing.
It is not please.
And also big congratulations to Mama V.
Mama Vi.
Yes.
So big
how you go? Mama V lyrics, how you go?
Yeah.
Mama Vivi. Mama Vivi. Mama Vivi. Mama Vivi.
Charlie,
Mama Vivi.
Charlie, how can the BlackStars perform?
Read some of your comments from Twitter. But coming up at 3 p.m, the big one is the African Football League. Is banging. It's live on Joy Prime, and of course we mentioned some of the teams that are participating in this. Simba is in there, TP Mazembe is in there, Esperance is in there, Eyimba is in there, Sundowns is in there,
Casablanca,
Athletic is in there. Big games coming up, all live on Joy Prime. The big money is $4 million.
Without going
$4 million. Yesterday I was speaking to Tanzanian friend Geoffrey, and one point that he made, which I completely agree with him, is that all the clubs that are participating in this tournament, they're getting something in the region of $900 to $1 million for participation. All right, and if they qualify to the semifinals, they're getting something in the region of $1.7 million. The runners are about getting something in the region of about $2 million. All right, and Geoffrey made a very profound point. He said all these clubs are having the opportunity to make this money because of the investment they've made in their clubs. And it is time to reap.
Yes.
Guys.
Yes.
If you work,
but this one is a shade though.
But it's true.
No, it's not a shade. It's a fact. That might bruise you if you don't find yourself in that category. And there's a selection process. Certain things need to be in place for you to be there. And quite clearly, those clubs or the clubs on the continent who have done the right things, putting in structure, found innovative ways of raking in money, building clubs that can compete on the continent are there.
And
they're going to be playing a competition that I see it's going to be big.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the next edition is expanded to 24.
It's going to be expanded to 24.
Yeah.
It's going to be big. I think it's going to be massive. And the fact that the money's, and again we know, okay, rumors do have it where the source of the money is going to come from, and that place are spitless.
It's not rumors. It's a signed deal.
No, okay, so there's a signed deal with the Confederation, but we are not sure.
And it has been published on the CAF website.
That money is going to.
Yeah,
So we know it's coming from Saudi Arabia.
That's
Ronaldo impact.
That's why we have visited Saudi as part of the.
No, Ronaldo impact.
That's Ronaldo money.
No, because of Ronaldo. Because Ronaldo went to Saudi, they're doing football.
Why
more.
I always
But that's
Ronaldo.
But the first game is happening at
Simba and Ali.
Yeah, just Joy Prime at 3 p.m. Yeah, big game.
Couple of minutes away. It's going to be a big game, really.
Telling you.
Obviously, Ali.
They have an atmosphere. They
And me, it's the atmosphere for me. Actually.
You know,
Really don't wanna miss it.
in Africa, the general perception is that the best group of fans are normally in the northern part, right? Because we've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
We that.
But what these guys are doing there, Simba,
Yanga and Co.
they are incredibly vibrant.
As of yesterday, I mean, they had sold out all the tickets.
Yeah.
All of them.
No, they've got fans who are season ticket holders.
Ali is coming to town.
Ali is coming to town.
This is a club that when they put out their JC
Merchandise,
within 2 hours,
people are queuing for it and what have you. So it's a great
But
competition.
we are only still at the secretariat. Nobody want to buy the thing.
So yeah, we eagerly looking ahead to see.
Yeah.
Again, I also want to see how CAF this time around is able to brand the outlook of the competition. Because one of the things that makes club competition, continental competitions, visible, attractive, is the whole brand around it. Is the whole aesthetics around it.
Yeah.
The whole commentary.
Yeah.
The whole music about it. So I want to see how CAF is able to, we have the CAF Champions League in the Confed Cup.
Yeah.
I don't think the brand is so good. I want to see how they step it up on this one, and I would like to see a lot more of night games for such competitions than we have in the afternoon, just to create a different ambience, different look and feel about it. But listen, I'm looking forward to see how the first edition goes.
So,
in Dar es Salaam, it will be 6 p.m. kickoff. Just in Canada, it's going to be 3 p.m. But I actually think that this is a competition that I feel is going to boost the finances of most of these clubs and make them self-sustainable.
I mean, absolutely.
So you're looking at a club like Al Ahly, that's already a wealthy club, and if they win the competition, they get $4 million. That is even pittance for them. But let's talk of the other clubs. Imagine you had a protocol or a House of Folk in there that is going to compete, and a Yimba in there that is competing, and they are walking away with say $1.8 million. A Yimba can come to Ghana and pick the best talent. So when the money is available for the clubs, they'll be able to now get the best talents wherever.
Yeah, and even maintain their best talents.
And even maintain their best talents as well. So I think that this is a competition that I feel could boost CAF. It could let them reposition themselves and the image of African football. It is very important. We keep losing some of our best talents out there. If you have a player in the continent that you are willing to pay him even $100,000 a month, I'm sure most of these players would be willing to stay.
Yeah.
So if the clubs are able to make money, I'm certain that
they definitely will make money.
I like the innovation. I think it's long overdue. The caliber of clubs that we have, I don't think the games were enough for, in terms of African club football. For the top. I don't think the games were enough. CAF needed to add something. It was either expanding the CAF Champions League or bring an additional competition. And I feel bringing an additional competition is very innovative. It's very smart because it's not just more money; it's more entertainment too.
Yeah.
So more entertainment translates into more money, and the more money is obviously growing your product. So CAF have done a brilliant thing. I just really hope that they're able to sustain this, and the sustenance is also a sort of an accessibility issue. If everybody feels a part of it, and that's why I love how they are branding and marketing this. They are not just in terms of the TV right. It's here on Joy Prime. There's no Ghanaian team inside,
but
we can watch exactly.
At 3 p.m.
So that is giving access to everybody, increasing and pushing the brand in your face.
Yeah.
And it's football.
Down
Look, Ali, Simba, Tip Mazembe, these guys play good football at top facilities. Look, so if Haas and Kotoko, okay, no, I'm saying if Haas and Kotoko, there are games on Saturday, there are games on Sunday in terms of the AFL. If Haas and Kotoko are going to stadiums like Accra, Kumasi, Mangala, like that, and they are watching, and people week in week out are also watching Ali with that. playing AFL, which is now accessible. It's not CAF Champions League or Comfort Cup that is exclusive to a few people. This one is Joy Prime.
Yeah.
Go and buy
Free
it.
to air.
Free to air. It's there, clean. You can watch it. We'll see who will be going to the stadiums. It will force you to work.
Yeah.
Because me too, I want Ali to come to town. You understand?
Yeah.
So that I can go to stadium.
But
so they should work.
I want to go to Takwa when they come.
That's the thing I've always said. That listen, that's why clubs like Kotoko and Hearts of Oak, the lack of plan, the lack of investment, is a great disservice to all the other young teams or small teams in the country. Because the thinking is, if Hearts is rich enough, Kotoko is rich enough, maybe another third team is rich enough in Ghana, they are able to buy some of the best players on the continent. What that means is, for a player who was good enough to play for Kotoko, at some point it's not good enough to play for Kotoko, but that player will be good enough to make the mid-table team good. And that is how all leagues across the globe have developed. A player like Danny Welbeck at some point was good enough to play for Man United.
Man United, yeah.
Went on to play for Arsenal. But when Arsenal had the money to bring in Aubameyang, Lacazette, he played for Brighton. Is he good enough for Brighton?
Yes.
Very good. A player with experience of United, with experience of Arsenal, now playing for Brighton. And so that is it. The more the bigger the big clubs become, or the worthier they become, the more quality, the teams beneath them. Because at some point, those players will be good for the top. It's like Kotoko. If Etuga was still in Ghana, Kotoko can go and pay money for a better striker. All of a sudden, Etuga plays for Lagos State or Mediama.
That's quality.
And he's getting them
That is
18 goals, 15
quality.
goals.
There's
Brilliant.
a clear look.
Brilliant.
The thing you are saying, there's a clear template in Tanzania. The
Absolutely.
league is built around two
yes.
teams.
Yeah.
It's Simba and Yanga.
And
the more Simba and Yanga do well, the better the
players
league.
are shipping down.
The
And
better
that
the
is why you would recall in 2016 when Hearts and Kotoko were neck to neck. Even just prior to COVID, the last time Hearts won the Ghana Premier League, when Kotoko and Hearts were neck to neck, because these two teams were competing, it sent a certain atmosphere to the rest of the other clubs, which brought a lot of enthusiasm and excitement into the competition. It is important that you would always have your best teams that have the massive support doing well. If they are not doing well, then the desire to follow the competition drops off. And I just hope that the next 24 teams that will be competing will have Kotoko and Hearts in there, hopefully.
Well, in terms of the fixtures coming up, like I mentioned today at 3 p.m., Simba and Al Ahly will be in action. That's the opening fixture. And later tomorrow, TP Mazembe and Esperance will be in action. 1 p.m. that game will be. And then you have Atletico Petroleos.
Yeah, Petro
That's
Atletico.
Luanda.
Petro, in Luanda in Angola. They will be hosting Mamelodi Sundowns.
And then
that's on Saturday at 3:30. Then on Sunday,
and then
you have Eyimba.
against who?
Eyimba
Against
against
who?
with that. Against with that. That game is on Sunday at 6 p.m. Also live on Joy Prime. So make it there with the team.
No, with that
big game. Nigeria definitely going to have some fun.
Well, it's home and away.
The mention of Eyimba brought back memories of 2007, or was it 2006, when they came here to play House of Oak. You were young, so
No. Right now they are in different.
No, you were young, so you didn't even see the game. The game Dankwe missed the penalty twice.
All right. Anyway,
you're all young boys.
Let me just. All right. Let me just read some comments.
You want to say you are young, but you're not young.
I'm just going to go around, final round with all of you, just to get your thoughts in terms of any of the games happening across Europe. This weekend.
Arsenal,
of course, a big one. Chelsea will surprise people this weekend.
No, it will be a very tough game, but Arsenal will win.
But this is a Chelsea.
It will come down to missed chances.
This is a Chelsea.
I think Arsenal will win because Enzo was away.
Yeah, but they are back training. Enzo and
they played
sometimes
Wednesday midnight into Thursday morning they got back and you're playing the game over the weekend. Normally the recovery time.
Wednesday midnight, the midnight in South America. Your midnight be that.
I'm talking about our midnight here.
That was our midnight. Not his midnight.
England is
also midnight for England, so it's even worse in England. So what are you saying?
That was 1 year.
England 1 hour ahead of us.
Yes. So if it's midnight here, it's after midnight.
It's after midnight.
So
in UK,
and those are crucial players for them as well. So I think Arsenal, even though they've not found their flow, I think that Arsenal will just get
Arsenal will get the better of.
Meanwhile, for Man City, City are also under some pressure. They play against Brighton, but I think Brighton concede too many goals. Erling Haaland has not been scoring with the regularity we've seen of him, more recently, and then Rodri is back. That should change something for City. So that should be an exciting
City
game.
Will win.
Yeah,
Brighton is just too open.
You are
saw
all
some
downplaying
predictions
Chelsea. You don't think Chelsea will win, but I think Chelsea will win. Sometimes, just sometimes, Sicho, and you are all very much aware of this. When you're coming up against a certain opposition, sometimes you have double motivation to play that game.
I think this is Chelsea's biggest game this season.
And a London
Chelsea's
derby.
playing badly.
It is a no. I'm not saying Chelsea is playing badly.
I beg you, let me just quickly clarify. Chelsea is not bad. Chelsea is actually a very well coached team.
Yeah.
But that's why I said it. It will come down to
missed
the
chances.
nitty gritties and it will be missed chances. Chelsea can carve Arsenal open.
Chelsea are
And
not
will they take
conceding,
the
they are
chances?
creating, they are just not taking
I don't
them.
think so. Arsenal will carve Chelsea.
maybe-
Will they take the chances? They will.
Maybe this is the game that Chelsea would take.
Yeah,
the
maybe.
This is Chelsea's
Maybe.
biggest
Surprise.
game this season.
Yeah,
It's their biggest test
And
this season.
if they get a win,
No, not the biggest set. The first one was against Liverpool. Don't forget.
Well, there was an interesting
played
question
better
that
than
we put out on Twitter
Arsenal
about
played better than
the record of
Quick, why
Nora
will come for you?
Hotel and the record of Chris Seaton.
Musba, the
And,
person who put that thing up there, you can't take the thing, can't answer. Come and sit down, come and you are putting Nora Hapto and come and sit down, can't answer the question.
Well, interesting. So there were just some comments that came in. So of course you can see her fingerprint on the Queen's team. Same can't be said about Chris. You know, Chris should go look for a player who is gifted and tactically good as a Santoa, and there will be turnaround for the Black Stars. Now Houghton hasn't lost competitively yet. Let the man settle in. He's doing okay. We are not great. We were beaten by better size. That's
That
some
one is
comment
simple. See,
on
the
Twitter.
Black Queen should just
Interesting.
identify as male and then you should come and take the
Anyway,
BlackStars.
interesting. Let me just bring you this: the Pop Chain Records Night 2023. Are you ready for the dance party of a lifetime? The Rotary Club of Accra Airport, Duo 99.7 FM, and the Gold Coast Restaurant bring you the 2023 Pop Chain Records Night, a special dance party to raise funds for breast cancer awareness and screening. Come witness the battle of the old school DJs with Andy Dosty, Prempeh College, Dorian Ando of Holy Child, Belay of Infantipim Lexus, Presec, as they give you a dance party like no other, while we raise funds for breast cancer awareness and screening to allow early detection in our communities. The 2023 Pop Chain Records Night will take place on Saturday, 28 October, at the Gold Coast Restaurant behind the police headquarters. Doors open at 5 p.m. and the party kicks off at 7 p.m. Tickets are 150 Ghana cedis and available on the front decks of Joe 99.7 FM and at the Gold Coast Restaurant. Also get your tickets electronically by dialing star 714 star 0303 star 1 hash and follow the prompt. Go grab your ticket fast. And to support this worthy cause and initiative, you can send your donations by dialing again, star 714 star 003 star 1 hash and follow the prompt. Pop Chain Record Night 2023 is here. See you there. The show was brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. And Betway, bet your way. An African Football League. Watch the African Football League from starting today to the 11th of November. That's all we have for you on Game Plan today. My name is Razak Musbah. Thank you, Sicho. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you to Muftal. Fent. Hope to see you soon. And to Kareem and to the entire team for making it an exciting one. Hopefully Chelsea wins.
Because you didn't mention his name, he said, so they don't know he was here.
But he mentioned my name.
No, he didn't.
That's why he was